Hello everyone, this is Beverly Black, and I'm back again today with a little known Black history fact. So stay tuned to see what the fact is today. We're talking about Henry Box Brown. Come on along. I will be reading this today to you about Henry Box Brown. Some of you may already know about, and some may not. But we're going to have a little history class today, okay? And for those who are here for the first time, welcome to Beverly Black's channel. Come on and join the channel. Become a part of us. Through the month of February, on Mondays and Friday, I will be uploading videos about little known Black history facts. And today we are talking about Henry Box Brown. Henry Box Brown was born a slave in Luzerne County, Virginia in 1815. When he was 15, he was sent to Richmond to work in a tobacco factory. His life was filled with unrewarded drudgery, although he had it better than most of his enslaved peers. The loss of freedom prevented him from living with his wife, Nancy, who was owned by a slave master at an adjacent plantation. She was pregnant with their fourth child when in 1848 he heard the tragic news Nancy and his children were to be sold to a plantation in North Carolina. North Carolina, my home state. He stood with tears in his eyes on the side of the street as he watched 350 slaves in chains walk by him, including his wife with their unborn child and 3 young children. He could only wish them with a tearful farewell. He was helpless to save them, with nothing he could do. After months of mourning his loss, Henry resolved to escape from slavery. He was a man of faith and a member of the First African Baptist Church, where he sang in the choir. He acknowledged that through his faith in God, he was given the inspiration and courage to put together a creative plan of escape. Henry enlisted the help of his choir member friend, James Cesar Anthony Smith, a free Black man who knew Samuel Alexander Smith, a white sympathizer. They were not related, but had the same last name. Samuel Smith liked to gamble and for a profit agreed to help Henry Brown with his plan. The plan that Henry envisioned was for himself to be shipped in a box by rail from Richmond to Philadelphia. A very creative, unique, and dangerous endeavor. Samuel Alexander Smith in turn contacted James Miller McKim, a white abolished and seasoned member, along with William Steele of the Philadelphia Anti-Slavery Society. Samuel Alexander Smith shipped Henry by Adam Express Company on March the 23rd, 1849, in a box that was 3 feet long by 2 feet and 8 inches deep. By 2 feet, yeah. That box wasn't that big, oh Lord. And sent the box as dry goods. Henry Brown traveled in the box, lined with baize, B-A-I-Z-E, a coarse woolen cloth, carrying with him only one bladder of water and a few biscuits. 1 bladder of water, and a few biscuits. There was a hole cut in the box for air, and it was nailed and tightened with straps. In large words, this side up. In large words on the box, it had "this side up" was written on the box. Brown traveled by a variety of wagons, railroads, steamboats, ferries, and finally, for added safety, a delivery wagon that brought the box to the Philadelphia Anti-Slavery Society before daybreak. During the 27-hour journey, 27 hours in that small box, the box was turned upside down on several occasions and handled roughly. Henry wrote that he was resolved to conquer or die. He was going to either conquer or die. I felt my eyes swelling as if they would burst from their sockets. Have mercy, Lord. And the veins of my temple were dreadful, distended with pressure of blood from my head. At one point, Henry thought that he might die. But fortunately, 2 men needed a place to sit down. And so, perceiving my box standing on the end, one of the men threw it down and 2 sat upon it. It was thus relieved from a state of agony which may be more imagined than described. The box with Brown inside was received by William Steele, James Miller McMillan, Professor C.D. Cleveland, and Lewis Thompson. Upon the box being opened, Brown said, "How do you do? How do you do, gentlemen?" Then recited a psalm. I waited patiently on the Lord, and he heard my prayer. He then began to sing the song to the delight of the 4 men present and was christened Henry Box Brown. Have mercy, Lord. Samuel Alexander Smith attempted to ship more enslaved from Richmond to Philadelphia on May 8, 1849, but was discovered and arrested. In November of the year, he was sentenced to 6½ years in the state penitentiary. James Caesar Anthony Smith, the free black, was also arrested on September the 25th for attempting another shipment of slaves, but he fared better. The trial that followed resulted in a divided panel of magistrates, and James Caesar Smith was released later, joining Brown in Boston. The abolitionist movement, and I know I butchered up that word, of that day held 2 opposing points of views. Frederick Douglass made it clear that Henry Brown's escape should not be made public, as others could use the same method. However, others thought that the public would help the movement and that it was just too good a story to keep from growing numbers of the public who opposed slavery. Henry Brown was intoxicated with the feeling that freedom brought. He was drunk with the feeling that freedom brought. And his personality would not allow him to remain quiet about his achievement. He was his only man and a working class individual. He used this miraculous even to make a new life for himself. He also used his great imagination to support him. In May 1849, Henry disappeared before the New England. Henry appeared before the New England Anti-Slavery Society Convention in Boston, where he left no doubt in the minds of the audience that the enslaved desired freedom. Brown also became a performer, often reciting the psalm he had sung when he first emerged from the box. In September of 1849, the narrative of Henry Box Brown was published in Boston by Charles Stearns. Henry Box Brown again showed his creativity late in 1849 when he hired an artist and others to begin work on a moving panorama about slavery. In April 1850, Henry Box Brown, Mirror of Slavery, opened in Boston and would exhibit throughout the summer. With the passing of the Fugitive Slave Act on August 30th, 1850, it was no longer safe for Brown to remain in the northern free states, as he could be captured and returned to Virginia. Therefore, he sailed to England in October 1850. He exhibited his play there. In May 1851, Brown's own first English edition of the narrative of his life was published in Manchester. All, however, was not well for Henry Box Brown. He was being criticized over finances and for not trying harder to purchase his own family. Thus, Thus Brown left the circuit completely and embraced English show business for the next 25 years. He married in 1859 and in 1875, accompanied by his wife and daughter, Annie. He returned to the United States. He performed as a magician and continued to climb into his original box as part of his act throughout the eastern United States. Brown's last performance is reported to have taken place in Bradford, Ontario, Canada, as stated in Bradford newspaper on February 26, 1889. No later information on Henry Box Brown and his family has been discovered. The date and location of his death are unknown. What is known is that he was a symbol of the Underground Railroad freedom movement. He was a man who took courage and combined it with creativity. I'm sorry. I am choking. Henry Box Brown soon discovered that in order to survive in the free world, I had to get a drink of water. Thank you. I am so sorry that in order to survive, I am so sorry I had to cut it off. I have cough and asthma and I got a coughing spell. In order to survive in the free world, he had to reinvent himself. He realized also that the courage is not always given to you. By an act of faith, he said to that higher power who gave him the creative idea to seek freedom in a box, continue to command me now as a free man to do the impossible. He did the impossible. Henry Box Brown did the impossible. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm so sorry I had a coughing spell. But God gets all the glory, the honor, and the praise. And I want to thank you. You all are blessed. I love you, but God loves you more because you are God's masterpiece.
Getting ready for my miracle. ready for my heart's desire. I'm growing into a flower and glamorous. Getting ready for my miracle. Getting ready for greatness. Getting ready for my heart's desire. I'm growing into a flower and glamorous. Getting ready for my miracle. Getting ready for greatness. Getting ready for my heart's desire. I'm growing into a flower and glamorous. I'm growing